What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video, and for this next series of videos, I'm going to do a series of videos, four to be exact, which talk about the big movies, the notable movies that are coming out next year, in 2017. I figured to do this now because a lot of your major releases for 2016 have already been released, whether it be full, expanded release or limited release. So I figured 2016 was a good year for movies. It definitely was. Not as good as 2015 for me, in my opinion, but 2016 was a pretty good year. We had some very, very good movies and all that. But with 2017, we are going to get a very good year. You've got by my count, 7 comic book movies. So we're still going to get a lot of comic book films. The next Star Wars movie's coming out. And the special Star Wars movie will be coming out. More on that later. And the great combination of drama movies, Oscar bait films, action movies, and comedies. So, here's how I'm going to divide up the videos. For this video, I'm going to be reviewing the most notable films that are coming out from January through March. And then the next video will be April through June. Third video will be July through September, and the fourth video will be October through December. So, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go weekend by weekend and highlight the most notable films that are coming out each weekend, each month. So without further ado, we're going to get started with January through March. The first weekend in January is January 6th. One wide release is going to come out that week. Actually, there's going to be some wide releases carried over from last year, from 2016. There were a lot of limited releases, and there's going to be some of them, I know I mentioned them in another video, that are going to be coming out in a wide release in 2017. But the 2017 movie that'll be coming out the weekend of January 6th is Underworld Blood Wars. I mention Underworld because these are movies that are very, that definitely, it seems like they have a big cult following. There are people who like these movies for sure. This is going to be the 5th installment in the Underworld franchise. There's been 4 other movies besides that. Kate Beckinsale will reprise her role as the main character in the film. So, it will be coming out January 6th. Like I said, Kate Beckinsale will be the main actress, the main star in this movie. So, it's definitely interesting because a lot of these films are not popular with the critics, but I believe they've made some money, the Underworld movies have. They really have, so let's see here. It's been released in other countries, but it'll be released in the US January 6th. So, Underworld Blood Wars, the first major release of 2017 in the US. The first non-wide release. Well, it'll be a wide release, but it wasn't a limited release movie for 2016. So that's the first movie. There is a movie that catches my eye that comes out the weekend of January 13th, and it's a movie called Sleepless. It's an action thriller, and it just catches my eye because of the two stars that are going to be co-starring in this film, Jamie Foxx and T.I., the rapper. T.I.'s been in some movies, been in some roles in the past, and Jamie Foxx is an Academy Award winning actor. So it's definitely an interesting film for sure. Michelle Monaghan is also in the movie. Dermot Mulroney, Gabrielle Union, so some notable actors in the film. The overall synopsis reads like this. A police detective with a connection to the criminal underground finds his secret life exposed when he and his partner are caught stealing cocaine from a powerful drug lord, a move that puts his son's life in danger. It seems very interesting. It just looks very interesting to me, and probably a film I'll check out in 2017. So that is Sleepless. There's a movie coming out the weekend of January 20th, which is Triple X, Return of Xander Cage, another action film. This is the third installment in the Triple X series. There was a first movie, Triple X, that starred Vin Diesel and Samuel L. Jackson. And now there was a second movie, Triple X State of the Union, which had Ice Cube in the lead role, also with Sam Jackson. And now you have Triple X Return of Xander Cage, which brings back Vin Diesel for this movie. And Sam Jackson's also going to be in this movie. So, now, I've watched a little bit of the first movie before, a little bit of it, not the whole thing, but I have watched Triple X State of the Union, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. So, yeah, those are the main actors that are going to be in Triple X Return of Xander Cage. The synopsis reads like this. Extreme athlete turned government operative Xander Cage, thought to be long dead, comes out of self-imposed exile to race villain Zhang Yang to recover a powerful weapon known as Pandora's Box. Recruiting a group of thrill-seeking cohorts, Xander finds himself caught up in a deadly conspiracy of corruption among world governments. It seems interesting to me. It's, it's interesting that this movie's being put in January because of the fact that January's not known as the best month. January is known as it's the dumping grounds of the movie season. There's a lot of bad movies that get put in January. So January does not have a good reputation. But with movies like Sleepless and Triple X, the tide could turn a little bit. You never know. Next movie I'm going to talk about. Actually, there are 3 that are coming out the weekend of January 27th. First movie is Bastards. It is a comedy, and it stars Owen Wilson and Ed Helms. J.K. Simmons is also in the film. Ving Rhames, Glenn Close. So, Bastards, the synopsis reads like this. 2 brothers learn their father did not die when they were young, as they had previously believed, and go on a road trip across America to find him. So, it's got Owen Wilson, who's one of my favorite comedic actors. Ed Helms is an impressive actor. He's pretty good. So, it looks interesting, and I will definitely be looking forward to seeing it. Next movie I'm going to talk about is A Dog's Purpose, which is a family film. It's a comedy-drama film, and it has a pretty impressive voice cast. Britt Robertson, Dennis Quaid, Josh Gad, Peggy Lipton. So, it's got a pretty impressive cast. No synopsis for the movie yet. Britt Robertson was is most famous for her appearance in Tomorrowland a couple of years ago. Also, it was a Nicholas Sparks movie a couple years ago. I forget the name of it. So, A Dog's Purpose coming out the weekend of January 27th. Also coming out that weekend, Resident Evil, the final chapter. The Resident Evil movies, like the Underworld films, are movies that are cult classics. They're not beloved by critics, but they make money. They definitely do. So Resident Evil, the final chapter, is going to be the sixth and final installment in the film series. Milla Jovovich is the lead character in these movies. And so this movie will be coming out in January, which probably is a perfect time because this movie will probably not get great reviews, as well as Underworld. So that's it for January. So it could either be a terrible month or it could be a decent month. You never know. Now we move on to February. February is that month where you get crap movies, but then again, Deadpool came out in February of this year, and it was a success. Well, speaking of January, actually, this January, every single major wide release film had negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, negative or mixed, except for Kung Fu Panda 3, which was a big success in the month of January. So, but anyway, we've got 4 movies that are coming out the weekend of February 3rd that I'm going to be talking about here. The first movie is Collide, which is an action crime drama film. Collide stars Nicholas Hoult, Felicity Jones, Ben Kingsley, Anthony Hopkins. So an impressive cast, for sure. So it looked interesting to me, and I think I saw a trailer for it. I think I did, from last year. So it looks exciting, and I might see it. Another movie coming out is Rings, a horror thriller. It is going to be the 3rd feature-length film in the Ring franchise, which are they're all horror films. The most notable actor who's going to be in this movie there's 2 of them, Johnny Galecki and Vincent D'Onofrio. Johnny Galecki, of course, is Leonard on The Big Bang Theory. So Rings is the 3rd film in that franchise. I probably will not see it because I'm not a horror fan, but there's definitely going to be people that see it, for sure. Another movie that I kind of I've heard of before, and I'm a little bit curious about, is Youth in Oregon. It's a comedy drama starring Frank Langella, Billy Crudup, Christina Applegate, Mary Kay Place. So it looked pretty interesting to me. So the synopsis of the movie reads like this. A man is tasked with driving his embittered 80-year-old father-in-law cross-country to be legally euthanized in Oregon, while along the way helping him discover a reason for living. So, looks interesting. And then the next film that I'm going to talk about here is The Space Between Us, which is a sci-fi adventure. I look at it and I see an impressive cast. Asa Butterfield, Britt Robertson, Gary Oldman, Carla Gugino. So an impressive cast. The synopsis reads like this. A group of astronauts go on a mission to colonize Mars. After they land on Mars, one of the astronauts discovers she's pregnant. She gives birth to a boy but dies from complications. 16 years later, her son Gardner Elliott is now a teenager who has lived his entire life on Mars, raised by the remaining astronauts. He wants to find his father, whom his mother never married, so he uses the internet to communicate with Tulsa, a teenage girl who lives in Colorado. When Gardner and the astronauts return to Earth, he begins exploring in order to find his father, but discovers his organs aren't used to the Earth's atmosphere. He's placed in a medical facility, but breaks out, finds Tulsa, and they go on the run. An interesting film, definitely. So I definitely will be, I'm not a big fan of sci-fi films, but I'm starting to become more of a fan in recent years, so who knows? I may see this. Okay, so the next weekend in February is the weekend of February 10th. There's some good films that are coming out this weekend. A couple good ones. The first movie I'm going to highlight here is the sequel to 2015's 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker. This is going to be a movie that I'm not going to see. I'm just mentioning it because it's going to be a big movie. It's going to probably get negative reviews like the last one did, like the first one, and make a lot of money. It's going to be released towards Valentine's Day, so perfect release date for it. The first one was released towards Valentine's Day also. Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan reprised their roles as the main characters in the film. Kim Basinger is also in the film as well. So it's a movie I won't see, so let's move on. Next film on the list is John Wick Chapter 2, another sequel. The first John Wick movie came out in 2014. I heard it was really good. I haven't gotten the chance to see it yet. Keanu Reeves reprises his role. Lawrence Fishburne and Common are both in the film. John Leguizamo also. So definitely an interesting. I have to watch the first movie first before I see John Wick Chapter 2. So it'll be interesting. And then the next movie is the Lego Batman movie, which looks to be an interesting film for sure. I'm actually looking forward to it. It looks like a cute movie. It is the first comic book release of this year. Like I said, there's 7, I believe. This is the first one. It is technically a comic book film. It's a spin-off of the Lego movie, which came out in 2014. This obviously focuses on Batman. It's got an impressive cast, too. Will Arnett plays Batman. Zach Galifianakis plays the Joker. Michael Cera plays Robin. Rosario Dawson plays Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. Ray Fiennes plays Alfred. Jenny Slate plays Harley Quinn. Billy D. Williams plays Two-Face. So an impressive cast. Now, the premise of this film is that Batman goes on a personal journey to find himself and learn the importance of teamwork and friendship in hopes to save Gotham City from a hostile takeover set by the Joker. So, it is going to be a film I'm interested in. I'm interested in it, and I probably, will I see it in theaters? Maybe, maybe not, but I'll definitely see it at some point. So the next film, there are 2 films coming up the weekend of February 17th that I am going to talk about here. 2 in particular. The first one is the movie Fist Fight. It's another comedy. Fist Fight stars Ice Cube and Charlie Day. Charlie Day, most known for the Horrible Bosses movies and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that TV show. Ice Cube, known for a lot of different roles, and a rapper, obviously. So, this is going to be a movie starring those two. Christina Hendricks plays a supporting role. Dennis Haysbert, Tracy Morgan is in the movie also. Jillian Bell. So the premise of this movie is after high school teacher Andy Campbell, played by Charlie Day, accidentally gets his colleague Ron Strickland, played by Ice Cube, fired, Strickland challenges him to an after-school fight. So this looks like it could be one of those dumb comedies that could work, you know? It'll either flop, it'll either, you know, get a lot of negative reviews, or be a successful comedy. You never know. Anyway, the other film I want to talk about is The Great Wall, which is going to be a Matt Damon film. Matt Damon is the main star of the movie, as well as some Japanese actors, or Chinese actors. It also stars William Dafoe as well. The Great Wall was released in China this year. Going to be released in the U.S. in February 17th. So yeah, Matt Damon, this is going to be another starring performance from him. Okay. The next film I'm going to be talking about, let's see. There's one other film in February I'm going to talk about, and that is a drama romance movie called Tulip Fever. Tulip Fever stars Alicia Vikander, who's a hot name right now among actresses. Dane DeHaan, Zach Galifianakis. He's going to be in a non-comedy. That's very rare for him. Judi Dench is going to be in this film. Christoph Waltz. So, an impressive cast. Tulip Fever, its premise is set in the Netherlands in the early 17th century, during the period of the Tulip Mania. An artist, played by Dane DeHaan, falls for a married young woman, played by Alicia Vikander, while he's commissioned to paint her portrait by her husband, played by Christoph Waltz. The two invest in the risky tulip market in Aarhus to build a future together. So, definitely looks interesting, kind of a period piece film that you never know. Even though it's released early in the year, it could very well get Oscar consideration. You never do know about that. So that's it for February. Now we get into March, where it starts getting better in quality, in terms of quality films. Starts getting better for sure. So there are 5 films that I want to talk about here that come out March 3rd, the weekend of March 3rd. First movie is the second comic book movie on our list. Second superhero movie, which is Logan. In case you don't know what the movie is, it is going to be another X-Men film. The 10th installment in the X-Men film series. It stars Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's notable because Hugh Jackman will be playing his final appearance as Wolverine. So after this, he's done. So, Logan, Hugh Jackman's going to be in the film, Patrick Stewart, as well as other people as well. So, that is going to be a major release for sure. Next movie I'm going to talk about is The Shack. It's a drama film, and it's a fantasy drama film. I just mention it because I've heard about it. So it stars Sam Worthington, Octavia Spencer, Radha Mitchell, country singer Tim McGraw. So an impressive cast. The synopsis of the movie. After his young daughter is murdered during a family camping trip, Mac Phillips spirals into a deep depression, causing him to question his innermost beliefs. Facing a crisis of faith, he receives a mysterious letter urging him to the shack where her body was found, deep in the Oregon wilderness. Despite his doubts, Mac goes there and encounters an enigmatic trio of strangers led by a woman named Papa. Through this meeting, Mac finds important truths that will transform his understanding of his tragedy and change his life forever. So it could be an interesting movie for sure. Next film I'm going to talk about is T2 Trainspotting, which is going to be a sequel to... It's going to be a sequel to film which came out in 1996 called Trainspotting. So again, two sequels. The sequel comes years after the first movie came out. So Ewan McGregor's going to be in this film, Johnny Lee Miller, and more. So it features the original cast from '96. It's going to be a British film, actually. So I just mention it because I've heard of that movie, Trainspotting, and this movie's going to be the sequel. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Table 19, which is going to be a comedy starring Anna Kendrick, Craig Robinson, Lisa Kudrow, and others. The premise of this film is that Alois McGarry is invited to a wedding and finds herself seated at Table 19, a table intended for guests who are only reluctantly invited and which the hosts hoped would not arrive. So, it looks like kind of a that seems kind of real, that there are a lot of wedding guests that are reluctantly invited or just show up and all that. So it looks like a real type thing, Hopefully this movie is real about that commonness, and all that sort of thing. So that's going to be that movie. Next film is Wilson. I heard about this film. Woody Harrelson is the main actor in the movie. Woody Harrelson, Laura Dern, Judy Greer, Cheryl Hines. So pretty impressive cast. The premise of this movie: a lonely, neurotic, and hilariously honest middle-aged man, played by Woody Harrelson, reunites with his estranged wife, played by Laura Dern, and meets his teenage daughter, played by a woman named Isabella Amara, for the first time. So, looks like an impressive movie. Anyway, moving on. The weekend of March 10th is... I'm going to be talking about two major releases that week. The first release is Kidnap. Kidnap stars Halle Berry in the lead role, and the premise reads like this. A single mother named Carla McCoy, played by Halle Berry, lives a perfect life with her young son, Frankie, played by an actor named Sage Correa. One day, upon entering a local park, Carla sees her son suddenly being abducted out of the blue by a kidnapper. To save Frankie from being taken, Carla goes out on a mission to demand people in the city to help rescue her son. So an interesting premise. It may play out really well as a great thriller film. And then the next film I'm going to talk about is Kong Skull Island, which is a very anticipated film. It's going to make some money because King Kong, the King Kong franchise, I mean, it's just going to be epic, probably, because King Kong is a well-known character. It's going to be a reboot of the King Kong franchise. It'll serve as the second film in Legendary's Godzilla's Kong film series. The first movie was the Godzilla movie, which came out in 2014. So, and it stars an impressive cast. Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly. So an impressive cast, for sure. Premise of this film. In the 1970s, a team of explorers and soldiers are brought together to venture deep into an uncharted island in the Pacific. As beautiful as it is treacherous, unaware that they are crossing into the domain of monsters, as well as the mythic Kong, the king of the island. Looks very impressive, so I hope I see it. Next up, coming out on the weekend of March 17th, there's one wide release I'm going to talk about here, and that is Beauty and the Beast, the live-action Disney adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. So, it is going to be a live-action remake of the animated film, the 1991 Disney film Beauty and the Beast, which was a masterpiece of a film. It really is a highlight of the Disney Renaissance that happened in the late 80s and 1990s. So, again, this is a remake. This is a remake of the animated film, live action. It stars an impressive cast. Emma Watson, Luke Evans, Kevin Kline, Josh Gad, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson. So a very impressive cast. So the plot of the movie. Belle is a young woman who is taken prisoner by a beast in his castle in exchange for the freedom of her father, Maurice. Despite her fears, she befriends the castle's enchanted staff and learns to look beyond the beast's exterior to recognize the true heart and soul of the human prince within, just as a hunter named Gaston is on the loose to take Belle for himself and hunt down the beast at any cost. So it looks like a very impressive film, and it's highly anticipated. The cast is very impressive, and we'll see if they do the live-action remake justice. Anyway, there are 3 films that come out the weekend of March 24th that I want to highlight. The first movie is based on a popular TV series in the 1970s, and this movie is called Chips. It's based on a 1970s TV series. I believe my dad really liked the series back in the 70s. My mom didn't. So it is going to be written, directed, and starring Dax Shepard, known for a few movies and all that. Dax Shepard, his wife Kristen Bell is going to be in the movie. Michael Pena and Vincent D'Onofrio also in the movie. So the plot of this movie: 2 middle-aged Los Angeles motorcycle cops who are tasked with highway patrol soon find themselves in a situation like none other when a sadistic ex-cop and his motor vehicle theft hitman are wreaking havoc throughout their city. So, looks like an interesting film. I never watched the TV series. I heard it was pretty corny and dumb, but if that's the case, then this movie should be the same thing as the series was. Next movie I'm going to talk about is a sci-fi thriller called Life. I mention it because it's got a very impressive cast. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, and Ryan Reynolds. The synopsis of this film: the six-member crew of the International Space Station is tasked with studying a sample from Mars that may be the first proof of extraterrestrial life, but which proves to be more intelligent than expected. So this could be a really good sci-fi film. Next up on the list is the Power Rangers movie. And technically, this movie is a superhero film, so it's another one of those superhero films. I don't know if there's been any comics made about the Power Rangers. I imagine so. But it is coming out the weekend of March 24th. It is the third film that's based on the Power Rangers property. It's a reboot of the series. Power Rangers, there used to be a dumb TV show in the 90s that was very popular. It is a lot of the Power Rangers themselves are played by actors and actresses who are not very well known, but there are people who are in the film that are recognizable names. Bryan Cranston, Elizabeth Banks, and Bill Hader are going to be in this movie. Elizabeth Banks plays the main villain. So, that is Power Rangers. Probably going to be a big release. And then, there are 3 films that are coming out the weekend of March 31st. March 31st, by the way, my birthday. So, there are 3 films. We're going to get our first animation film. Our first animation comedy. Our first animation film, I believe, of the year. And that's going to be The Boss Baby. It is going to star Alec Baldwin as the main character, Steve Buscemi, Jimmy Kimmel, Lisa Kudrow, Tobey Maguire. So an impressive voice cast. The plot of this film: a man named Tim Templeton tells about his 7-year-old life being jealous of his fast-talking, briefcase-carrying baby brother named the Baby Boss. When he goes on a mission to win back affection of his parents, he finds out about a secret plot by the CEO of Puppy Company, Francis E. Francis, which revolves around his baby brother and threatens to destabilize the balance of love in the world. Both brothers must unite to save their parents and restore order to the world and prove that love is indeed an infinite force. So, a very interesting film. I did see a trailer for it. I thought it was pretty impressive. So, we'll see about this film. Anyway, next film I'm going to talk about is Ghost in the Shell. This is going to be starring Scarlett Johansson. It's based on a popular Japanese manga, which is a comic book. It's based on a Japanese comic book. So Ghost in the Shell stars Scarlett Johansson. It's going to be... It created a lot of controversy because Scarlett Johansson is in the title role. A lot of people thought that a foreign actor, or in this case a Japanese actor, a lot of people thought that a Japanese actress should play the lead character. This movie was accused of whitewashing by putting a recognizable star in Scarlett Johansson in this role. But nonetheless, it will star Scarlett Johansson, and the premise of this movie reads like this. Cyborg counter-cyber-terrorist field commander, the Major, played by Scarlett Johansson, and her Task Force Section 9 thwart cyber criminals and hackers. Now they must face a new enemy who will stop at nothing to sabotage Honka Robotics' artificial intelligence technology. So, should be an interesting release. And then the final film of March that I'm going to talk about here is The Zookeeper's Wife. I mention it because I've heard of the film. It's going to star Jessica Chastain. And based on a true story. And the plot plays like this. A true story about the Warsaw zookeepers couple Jan and Antonina Zabinski, who saved many human and animal lives during World War II by hiding them in animal cages. So, looks like an interesting film for sure. So that is it. That's going to be it for this video on the 2017 releases, notable releases in the months of January, February, and March. So stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be on the releases of April, May, and June. D-Rock 1992, out.